In this video, we're going to talk about Chapter 6 functions. The chapter topics, as you can see, this is going to be a short chapter. We're going to introduce function, write your own function, and then more library function. A function is a module that returns a value back to the part of the program that is called. Many languages provide libraries of functions that you can use, such as random number generator. The function is like a module, but it returns a value that can be used in your program. Last bullet, what that's telling you is function just like a module, except a module does not return a value, but a function does. This is going to be a pretty easy chapter for you because we've been using functions since chapter 3 in Flogorithm. Library functions. They're written functions that come with most languages. They're usually common tasks and they save time for the programmer because it allows for code reuse. You have a random number generator function, which is useful in gaming programs, simulation programs, statistical programs, computer security such as encryption. The way it works is you say set number equals random, and 1 represents from 1 to 100. That's the range. It's going to automatically choose one of them randomly, that's why it's called random, and return it. And when it's returned, you assign it to a variable. You can write your own functions. You have a function header, which specifies the data type of the value that's going to be returned, and the name of the function, and any parameter variables. Then you have the body. That's the statement that's going to be executed. Then you have a return statement that specifies the value that's going to be returned back to the variable that you use to call it. Here's an example. This is a program that's going to have first age, second age, and total. Line number 7, you enter your age, then of course you get your input, then you get your best friend's age, and you get your input. Now again, this is not good naming standards because first age, second age doesn't tell me what it is. So really this example should say age and friend's age. Remember, you need to be more specific. And line 13 is where they're calling the function. You're saying total equals sum, first age, comma, second age. So what it's going to do is going to sum up the ages. These are arguments that's going to be passed to the function. And on the function header, you're defining the parameters that these arguments are going to go into. So once it executes that function, it goes down here to line 21. It's moving first age to num1, second age to num2. Then it's declaring result, and then it's setting result equals num1 plus num2, and it's returning result. When line 24 is that return statement's hit, it goes back up here to line 16. Remember, when you pass arguments, you have to pass them in the order that you have your parameters declared right here on the function header. Since this is an addition, if you pass the numbers in reverse, for instance, if you pass second age and then first age on line 13, it would still work correctly because you're doing an addition. Same thing if you're doing a multiplication, you still get the correct results. As long as you don't print out those variable names, then it would be wrong. But if you're doing a subtraction or a division, your results would be wrong. Additional concerns. While you can pass as many arguments into a function, you can only return one value. That's the main problem. That's why I told you earlier in one of the videos, for every input, you have to have a function to get that input. Can't say just get input and get all the input in one function because you can only return one of them back to the main module. Functions simplify code, increase the speed of development, and ease the facilitation of teamwork. The way that works is I can write a function. Everybody else can write a function at my company, and we can share, which means I can call your function. All I have to know is the name of your function and the arguments to pass and what's going to be returned. And you can call anybody else's in the company. Each function should be flow charted separately. You have the IPO, which is an input, process, and output chart. There's no input. A processing is going to prompt the user enter in the regular price, and the output is just going to return the regular price. More library functions. You have mathematical functions. They already come with most languages. Each language has different functions. Also, a lot of them has the same functions. Example they're showing here is you have result equals square root 16. So what that's going to do is going to pass 16 to the SQRT, and it's going to return the square root. Area equals power. Passing 4 to it and the power of 2, so it's going to return the value. So basically what it does, it says 4 times 4. It's going to return 16. You have absolute. ABS calculates the absolute value of a number. COS returns the cosine. Round rounds it to the nearest integer. Sin returns the sin of the number. Tan returns the tangent. Say the number, they refer to it as argument, but it's going to be a number that you send. You have data type conversion functions. Library functions that convert value from one data type to another. 2 integer converts a real to an integer, which basically truncates the decimals. 2 real converts the integer to a real, which is going to do 0.00, or ever how many decimal positions you declare. Real numbers can store integers. Integers cannot store real numbers. Type mismatch will occur without converting values. In some languages, if you declare something a real, and then another value, an integer, it will truncate the value in the real if you were trying to move it to it. Other languages, it would crash and tell you, hey, you can't do that. For instance, if your hourly rate was $25.99 an hour, you wouldn't want it to truncate your 99 cents. You'd want it to give you an error saying, hey, you're about to lose some data. Formatting function is allowed to format a number in a certain way. Currency format. So far in this book, you just put a $sign inside your string. Then when you display the amount, it doesn't put the thousand separator comma. And the decimal position, not always two decimal positions. But you can use the currency format, and it will automatically put the $signs right down here before the number. It'll put the comma for you, and it'll round it up to two decimal positions. If it was like 0.5, it would put 0.50. You have string functions. They allow you to work with strings. The length function returns the length of the function. Append joins the strings together. It's kind of similar to the concatenation. The two upper and two lower converts the string to upper and lowercase. A substring can extract a character or a portion of a string out of a string. For example, if you had a 5-character number and you wanted to get the last 3 characters, you could say, I want you to start at position 2 for the length of 3. And you say, well, why starting at 2? Because it's kind of similar to the way arrays work. The first position is considered 0. Second position is considered 1. You have contains, which identifies similar strings within 2 strings. String to integer and string to real converts the string that stores a number to a number data type. Now, if you use the string to integer and there's characters in there, it's going to crash. You also have the is integer and is real used to test numbers to see if it can be converted to a string. In the real world, you would check to make sure it's an integer or real before you do the string to integer or string to real. And I told you this was going to be a pretty easy chapter. All right, here's the lab sheet. You just fill all this stuff in and notice it tells up here in your directions A, B, C, and D, and it also labels them. It tells you exactly what to do. So for instance, in A, it says write a function with a header named add 10. Notice there's 2 A's. Remember, inside the function header, you got to give it a data type and the name. That's why there's 2 A's. The B is where the parameter will accept the argument that is passed from your call statement. And you just go on down there and fill that out. Keep on going. Step 1 of writing your own functions that return a Boolean value, you do the exact same way. Step 2 is the same as the thing. All of them is the same, as you notice. So just keep on going, filling it out. Make sure you read it carefully. Your programming assignment is going to be a rectangle area program. The area of a rectangle is calculated according to the following formula. Area equals width times length. Design a function that accepts a rectangle's width and length as arguments and returns the rectangle's area. Use the function in a program that prompts the user to enter in the rectangle's width and length and then display the rectangle's area. This is similar to the rectangle program you've done in previous chapters. The only difference is you entered the width and the length for 2 different rectangles. Then we calculate the area. Then we compared them to see which one was the largest, which one was the smallest, or if they were the same. So you just use that program from previous chapter and you can delete stuff out. You can delete all the stuff about getting the rectangle's length and width and the calculation of the area for the second rectangle. And then you can delete the compare function where you're comparing to see if they were smaller, larger, or equal, and then just output 1. So you've already got the program written. You just got to delete stuff out to make it work like this is asking for. Again, this should be the easiest chapter you do this semester. I hope this video helped.